Hi everyone, it's Michelle and welcome back to my channel. And I finally sorted out my bookcases, so I'm kind of excited about that one. I've been a bit busy and yeah, gosh, between my kids' bookcases and mine, like the house has been a little bit of a mess, and every time like a family member walks in they go like, oh my gosh, what's happened here? So that was kind of funny. I hope you guys are all having an amazing Easter. I'm filming this sort of over Easter weekend, so yeah, I hope you guys all had a very blessed Easter. What we're doing today is we're doing a bit of a, well, when I say a bit, a big-ish book haul. It's almost like 20 odd books. I know it's not massive like some people do with like 40 or 50 books or whatever, but I suppose if you add them all together it might be sort of along that line. But anyway, I think I'm going to kind of, my husband and I were laughing the other night, it's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous, Books Anonymous. I got my like 2-week pin. I haven't made any orders recently, so I suppose that's kind of interesting. They've all arrived though, so I kind of don't feel like I've earned my 2-week pin, but apparently I have. Anyway, let's dive on in. So if you guys have seen any of my other videos, I love watching series and books, and it's series and movies that are based on books. And yeah, if there is books around to do that, you know, that are the stuff is based on, I love then reading the actual written works, because generally there's like so much more information in it, which is fantastic. So, bit of a guilty pleasure. I love watching the series. I love the fantastical element that kind of comes into like a complete historical fiction romance thing. Outlander. So anyway, I got the first 4 books. It's in this nice little like set. I'm not 100% sure if I'll keep the box, but anyway, the first 4 books came through. So that is fantastic, and I'll slowly be getting around to these ones. And if you guys don't know the story, basically this lady, after the Second World War, Claire, she tries to rekindle with her husband, and something happens. They go on like a second honeymoon or something, and she goes to visit this religious, spiritual place, and she gets shot back in time to like years and like hundreds of years before. And all her adventures there, and she ends up meeting another guy, and all these things happen. And like, I've only watched the series, I haven't even read the backs of these, so I'm basing my little like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stop there. If you've seen the series, great. If you haven't read the books, maybe you should check it out on Goodreads, because I'm really bad at explaining this one. Anyway, next one I want to kind of jump through. Also, the series have the reviews have been fantastic on this one, and they say, so really excited about this one. The reviews have been fantastic. If you have a look, Naomi Novik, Spinning Silver, it is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. Yeah, I've heard this is fantastic, so quite excited for that one. One of the other ones I'm looking at getting is, looking at reading, is The Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James. This, as far as I remember, is about, you know, the world has become, people have become infertile, and as a result, old people really like treasure younger people, because, you know, there's never going to be young people again. And I believe at the end of this one there's quite a twist, so that's going to be an interesting one to see. So another one that I got is actually, I think it's a duology. It's A Throne of Swans by Catherine Elizabeth Kaur, with a sequel, A Crown of Talents. I felt like I got tongue-tied there. I don't know why. Crown of Talents, it's hardly tongue-tying, but anyway. So this young girl, I think her name is Addie. Her father dies just before her 18th birthday, and she's got to take over her father's place in ruling this area, what do they call it? A dominion. And all the lords in this dominion have this ability to turn into ancestral birds, and she can turn into a swan, but she hasn't been able to since her mother's death. So she's got to kind of come into power and unravel the events as to what actually happened with her mom and what's going on, yeah, behind the scenes. I'd imagine this is going to be quite political, which is going to be super fun. And I think it's a nice little interesting twist. I'm wondering if it's sort of somewhat of a retelling, but I suppose we'll have to have a look and kind of see. But look at these covers, like, aren't those just gorgeous? I love a beautiful cover. So those are one of the other ones I'm going to be reading. And then one of the other ones I was super excited to get is V.E. Schwab's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So this is a gorgeous story from what I'm I love the concepts around this. But anyway, Addie LaRue is this young girl, and she makes a deal with the devil. I think it's the devil. She makes a deal with, I think it's the devil, to live forever. And she does, but there's a catch. Nobody will ever remember who she is. So she goes through life, and I think at some point she ends up running into someone who actually does remember her. I think that's kind of how the story goes. I haven't dived into it much. I'm hoping this is going to surprise me. I didn't want to like set my hopes up too high or have high expectations on it. I love the cover of this one. So the paperback looks something like this as well, but I think without the, it's got more of a yellow back. This has got more of like a shiny rose gold sort of thing going on there. And then the big like hardcover version is black with gold, and like it looks gorgeous, but I was quite intrigued by this one. So I mean, the rose gold and the flowers are really, really, really pretty. So quite excited to be reading that one soon. And then I was sort of, one of our local suppliers had like a big sale, and I was going through the list just to see what there is. And something caught my eye, which I thought was really, really interesting. I read sort of mixed reviews on it, but I'm keen to give it a shot. And that is Beth Revis, Give the Dark My Love, and then the sequel to that, Bid My Soul Farewell. So this is really, really interesting. From what I remember, there is an illness. Nedra is a 17-year-old. She leaves her home in a rural area territory to go and join this academy to learn about medicinal alchemy. And because there's this illness, I can't remember, there's a plague that runs rampant amongst the territories. And as she kind of is learning, she ends up delving into necromancy, which I think is quite a twist. Hence that Gives the Dark My Love and Bid My Soul Farewell. So it sounds like it's going to be quite dark, dark academia, definitely. And I'm very intrigued. And I think the covers are really pretty. So I'm quite interested to see if that's going to be like a nice little secret find or not. We'll have to see and wait and find out. And then these two writers, I find actually I'm coming across like a lot of their books that they write together, and that is Megan Spooner and Amy Kaufman. And this is The Other Side of the Sea. It's got this like really luminescent cover. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. Really, really beautiful. So this is an interesting story. It's sort of, Prince North's home is in the sky, and the engines of this land, the Sky Island, are failing. And then Nim, I don't even know how to say this, but Nimh. But anyway, she's a living goddess of her people on the surface, responsible for providing answers, direction, and hope. And these two young people's lives are intertwined, and in interesting ways, and love between them can never be. So we've got to kind of see what happens in between them. Like, do they forsake all and fall in love, or do they put everything else before? It's kind of my understanding of it. Quite interested to see what happens here, so we'll have to wait and see. One of the next ones I got also had amazing, actually, I want to say Elliot Brooks. I went on a blank there. Elliot Brooks read this recently. I'll try and link her I'll try and link her channel down below for you guys. But Giles Christian wrote Lancelot, and this is based obviously on Lancelot, King Arthur, that whole time. I believe it is incredible. I know I've seen a few videos where she was wanting to read it and she got halfway, and like she was absolutely blown away with how beautiful this book was. I have not delved into it more than that, just because I wanted to surprise me. Like, I love King Arthur stories and Lancelot stories, and like stories around those times with knights and kings, and I don't know if there's going to be a princess in this at all. We'll have to wait and see if there's any major female characters. Doesn't mean I won't like it if there isn't, but yeah, point is I haven't really delved into this much. I'm kind of waiting to let it unfold as I read it, and we'll see how that goes. Then I had a fun one. in between checking out some various videos for reviews of books, I came across an interesting one, the Christmassaurus. So I don't know if you guys know any of this. This definitely looks like it's middle grade or younger. But I ended up getting the second book in the series, which is the Christmassaurus and the Winter Witch by Tom Fletcher. And this looks so cute. But just to clarify, the reason I got this is because my eldest son, Jonathan, who's 5, was behind me and kind of looked at this video that I found and went, "Oh, Mom, what's that?" And since then, he's been asking me to get the book of the Christmassaurus. So here's number 2. It was on sale. I think it was worth it. We're going to start reading it through together at some point soon. But yeah, that's a nice little bit of fun. Then I got a really different one. So this one is called The Blossom and the Firefly by Sherry L. Smith. And interesting. So yeah, I think this has got a completely different take on it. This is sort of a love story based with 2 Japanese people. And he is a kamikaze pilot leaving on his mission in a few days. And she is a young girl, I'm trying to think, she was buried alive in a collapsed trench during a bomb raid. A song will bring them together, the war will tear them apart. Is it possible to live an entire lifetime in 8 short days? So this looks phenomenal. I'm super excited to read this. I love, like, you know, historical fiction, especially like love stories that involve the war and stuff, and I think that's going to be super fun. So yes, I know we're not done yet. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, but I tend to kind of, yeah, my mom always used to say, like, I have verbal diarrhea, and sometimes when I'm passionate about things like books, it tends to bleh. Anyway, another book that I got was The Scent Keeper by Erica Bauermeister. I think I'm saying that right, Bauermeister. Anyway, this sounds very intriguing, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of information in it. There's a young girl, what's her name now? Emmeline. There's a young girl, her name is Emmeline, and her father raised her to smell things, like to become familiar with certain scents, and didn't really give her much more information. Then it kind of says that something unthinkable happens. I assume something happens to her father, and she kind of has to delve into the real world on her own and use her sense of smell to figure stuff out. I have no idea where they're going with this, but it sounds incredible. Yeah, it sounds phenomenal. I mean, I read a World War II book recently that involved a lot of music in it, which was quite interesting, and the idea of smell being very involved in this one, I think, is a very intriguing sort of direction for a book to take. So another one is, I recently finished reading the whole Sarah J. Maas, you know, Court of Thrones. What is wrong with me? A Court of Thorns and Roses. You know, that whole series, even with the new one, Court of Silver Flames. I'm having a moment today. But anyway, so it intrigued me to get, I'm a bit scared of doing her other series, the Throne of Grass series, just because it's so damn long and I have so many books to read. I don't want to get stuck into one. So this is Sarah J. Maas' Crescent City. And it's a house of earth and blood. And in this one, Bryce, something happens that a whole bunch of her friends get murdered, and she gets pulled into, like 2 years later, she gets pulled into the investigation to find out what happened with them. And yeah, if it's anything like her other books, then I think this is going to be fantastic. And then I have one last book for you guys. So years and years and years ago, one of my absolute favorite series, I'm trying to see where it is around me. It's around here somewhere. But anyway, probably it's color coded. So where is it? Aragon is somewhere behind me here. And I'm not seeing it. I know it's blue. And I'm looking right past it. I'm adamant I'm looking right past it. Regardless. Anyway, Christopher Paolini. I have no idea. He wrote the Aragon series, which is Aragon, why am I forgetting his name? I know it's red. And I'm having a moment here too. This is also over my head. Eldest. There you go. Aragon, Eldest, Brissinger, and then the Inheritance. So the Inheritance cycle, he wrote that with dragons. I love dragons. It's Gosh, one of my favorite series. I absolutely loved it. The character building, the world building, like it just blew my mind. So when he came out and he wrote a science fiction, To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, I think it's a science fiction, this I am beyond intrigued about. I'm not even going to try and tell you. I'm going to read it to you. It says, during a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, Kira finds an alien relic, and at first she's delighted, but elation turns to terror when she finds out that when the ancient dust around her begins to move. And as war erupts amongst the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy-spanning odyssey of discovery and transformation. And first contact isn't at all what she imagined, and events push her to the very limits of what it means to be human. While she faces her own horrors, Earth and its colonies stand upon the brink of annihilation, and now Kira must be humanity's greatest and final hope. So that sounds absolutely phenomenal. I'm super intrigued that it's such a big book. I actually love big books. It means that it's not going to finish anytime soon. I'll get like halfway and get super intrigued and know at least I got more. Anyway guys, that's it from me. My little book haul that I did to, a friend of mine said to me I might actually be starting to have a bit of a problem, but I haven't bought a book in 2 weeks. They've just all arrived, so I'm hoping that kind of sets me apart. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great Easter. I'm doing a little bit of South African pride here and having the Amarula, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!